Mike Nemesvary from England on his approach.
Mike Nemesvary, he's on course, ladies and gentlemen.
Here he comes, David.
24 years old. He likes to get air.
Here comes half, full, half, stuck in. Good form, perfect landing.
The first jump in competition here, everybody was worried about the conditions, and he really put on a show.
Since being quite young, I've always been an acrobat or enjoyed throwing my body about. And I had, I think, a natural talent and natural air sense awareness. I used to love to do every sport, and I'd give it a shot, really, at everything. Freestyle has a daring appeal to it, has the danger factor. There's a lot of color, there's a bit of glamour, a bit of money in it, and a lot of wildness. And that's what I liked. I just loved it, pushing myself to an extreme, and being able to do somersaults in the air to me was an extreme, and I wanted to get better and better until eventually I would be the best in the world.
He's on course now. He'll be pouring it half in, full, half, full. And he nails it. Unbelievable, beautiful jump by Mike Nemesvary. He is really...
I've won the British Championships, the European Championships, and I've won 3 World Cups. My goal was to win the World Championships in '86, and following that, it would have been the Olympics in '88. I broke my neck virtually as high as you can. I had to be an extremist as always, and I completely displaced the bones and severed the spinal cord virtually in half. I have my own trampoline equipment, and we had taken it out just for a fun bounce. And I went up to do this maneuver and lost my awareness. And before I knew it, I'd come down on my neck. I'd gone up, come down, and was paralyzed in a split second. It was difficult when I started to stabilize because I wasn't able to communicate. And that's incredibly scary because you don't go through the accident with anybody else. You're just dealing with your own thoughts. They're incredibly confused. And when I came to, I was being fed up through my nose. There's a tube going through my nose. One of my lungs had collapsed, so I was always on a ventilator. And I couldn't even move my hands at that time. The only way to communicate was with my eyes. I was just thinking, God, no, it's not true. It can't be true. Just waiting all the time, till my feeling would come back. It was just like it was going through the most horrible thing in your life, all alone. can use my biceps, I've got my shoulders, I've got most of my upper back muscles, the rhomboids, I've got my chest muscles, the pectoralis. One thing I can't do is I can't lift my arms straight up because that takes extension, it takes triceps, and I don't have that. The hardest thing is just, you know, the daily routine, you know, making an effort, because it's all too easy to become apathetic. So in the nicest possible way, really what I've got to do and will continue to do to maintain any sort of life is to keep on taking on the world. I mean, if somebody were to tell me I couldn't walk again, I had no more use of my legs, I think I can accept that. But once you come to terms with it and you find all the complications, it's staggering. I remember the first time I really started to come to grips with it. It was so scary, you know, I used to think there's no way I can organise my life around having to do all that, and I still don't know.
Judy? Judy!
I'm coming. How are you doing?
Morning.
Good night.
Life is bright.
Judy came into my life around the Christmas of 1985.
Yeah.
She looks after me 24 hours a day.
Infected.
Can you just throw the duvet back?
Got a bath run?
You set up for that? You know, to sit up if we could.
Yeah, good.
My shoulders are really stiff.
Oh, that was a...
She is my independence. Without her, then I'd be bedbound all the time.
I don't know about that. Oh, do we just put some music on?
I had a young girl called Brigitte just helping me out.
Let's bridge it up.
Yeah. Go down a bit?
Oh, it's nice waking up music.
It's better than the sun has got its hat on. You set to go in?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know where to start, where to end, because it's endless, all the things you've got to consider. And remember, if just once we make a mistake, like my bottom rubs on a sharp edge, I've got to be flat on my stomach or my side, and it could take up to 6 months for a pressure sore to heal.
That's the one.
You should be on my right side.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
I could wake you up anyway.
Do you think, Brigitte, could you pick the sleep out of my eyes, please?
It's all right?
Yes, thanks. That's fine. Oh. You really scratch it.
No,
Ah, you're gonna.
I'm not being inside, I'm not being in the hole.
No, I think just concentrate. Give you the chest hairs.
Yeah?
That's it. Now, should we go on?
Okay.
When you say somebody's paralyzed or it's spoke about in any context, people think, no, can't ever walk again. God damn, that's hard, and they really do mean it. But they seem to forget that, you know, it's the dealing with the social problems, dealing with the difficulties in communication, getting back into the mainstream, independence, as I say, the sex life, the bladder, all these are far more important because, you know, we've got a wheelchair and it's not great, but at least it's a way round.
Can't see.
Yeah.
It's up in my eyes.
Just gotta get you balanced.
I can't balance myself, I can't see. I'm gonna fall.
You're gonna fall when you go over that way.
Whoa! Come on, should you just quickly wipe my eyes?
Yeah.
If you have that towel to the side.
It was right to the side, but
Okay,
I've got
then.
to reach with a hand.
Yeah, I'm too far to that end of the bath, that's why I'm falling. Can you move up?
Enough?
And I need my left leg a bit wider. That's the one.
Is that? This one?
Yeah. When you actually put your own shirt on, I mean, the whole body works in a systematic, coordinated way, and when somebody's doing it for me, it's very mechanical and it's very methodical and very slow just to get my shirt on. But, you know, before all that, there's the emptying of the bowels and emptying of the bladder, and then it's a matter of getting us sitting up. Sometimes the blood pressure goes a bit wacko. You've got to sit up in gradual stages.
Oops, sorry. Do you want them smaller than that?
Yeah, maybe cut in half once again. Contrary to popular opinion, my mouth isn't that big. I can push the wheelchair around. I can pick things up, you know, by using pressure of both my hands together. You know, I can eat, I can drink. Most of the basics in life. Don't do it with a lot of finesse, but I'm learning. We were out public last night as well.
Probably around the corner.
Prince of Wales. The more I can do for myself, no matter with how little finesse I do it, the closer I'm getting to bringing back dignity. The fact that I am able to eat is all an improvement, because right after my accident I could barely lift my hand up, let alone, you know, get it all into my mouth.
Is it too hot? Just not like it?
Just a little bit, yeah. Some people might look at it and think, oh God, look at that, I can barely eat. It's not true. I think, you know, it's doing quite well, and I'm not in anybody else's standard. I'm only dealing with my own standards.
How's that feel?
Fine.
Not bad?
We've got this machine here, the standing frame. I use it for therapeutic reasons, for draining the kidneys, draining the bladder. It's good for circulation, for leveling out the blood pressure, for all sorts of reasons.
Yep. Right.
Because I'm on this and I do come to standing position, I'm back to my height of roughly 6 feet tall.
Just a half hitches. Good sitting up.
Careful pushing.
It's ready to come up. As it comes up.
I'm just going to see how I feel just going full height.
Straighten it a bit so that we get the even pressure on the nose.
It's unbelievable the difference. Well, first that I noticed, you know, the television's so low down, how everybody else isn't quite as tall as I thought they were, but how people treat me different. It's as though I've gained some sort of respect once again, and it's stupid, but it's true.
Don't give me any cheek, girl. Exactly. It's really good, yeah.
It's a smart device. It's amazing how small everything looks, because it's a completely different perspective.
Can you twist at all? Just the arms twisted, yeah. Those shoulders don't twist that side, yeah. So if you stop and twist, yeah, that way.
It's hard to get momentum.
That's it. And round.
Paul has been great. To be honest, he's probably the one friend who has stuck with me throughout it all and hasn't been afraid of the bad times, you know, or the good. He's, you know, basically accepted that there's going to be times where we slip and we go, you know, get a bit depressed, but he's been there throughout.
This way. Come to me, come to me. Head forward this way too. That's it, that way, up, that way.
It's not working.
No, well, it's only so far you can go, isn't it? Yeah. That's good. That's good. Okay.
Why don't you hang by your toes, Paul? Come and join us.
What, beside you?
Just beside us, yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
How's it going? Good speed, that's it. Great, that was much better. Perfect. And keep your eye focused. I'm involved in coaching a couple of young girls at the moment. Coming down, okay? Just keep Sarah's a young British girl. She's an ex-trampolinist, a very good gymnast. And Michelle Gerard, who was an energetic, a little bit cocky, but very talented American girl. Throughout my whole skiing career, I got involved in all facets of sport, and it would be a shame to just let all that knowledge die or just to lose it. It's still fresh in my mind, and I've got nothing to hold back now. It doesn't matter if I give it away. I actually find harder coping with the accident now than I did right away. Having got back into the mainstream of life, maybe I'm a bit more reflective on it. Now I'm finding out some of the more difficult times. So what I do feel I get fed up with this process morning and morning.
You can't exactly rush it, that's the thing. You can make it a little faster, but you've still got the same old thing to go through.
I'm even, having problems with Judy. It's, I think a lot of that goes back to the fact that our relationship is not normal. To have to cope with in life, to be so close to one another, causes a lot of tension, a lot of pressure.
Really?
I think to care and have some sort of an emotional relationship and to also be working for me, it's difficult to find the balance. I suppose it's true to say, and people have said it, that you abuse and take out the worst in the people closest around you, and she gets it all the shit and all the aggravation and all the hard times as well as the good. And sometimes the bad times outweigh the good, and that's when it gets tough on both of us. It's too much.
It's got to a stage where we just can't seem to get on at all. We can't seem to talk. We can't seem to be able to discuss anything without it turning into an argument. And it's at the stage as well where Mike just doesn't basically want me around, doesn't want me to do anything. And I've now realised that I've got to go.
It's inevitable that, you know, she has to go her own way, and so do I. Because eventually one day I may become too dependent on her. Socks run a long way around. That thing's at the bottom should be at the top. Yes, I'm awkward, but it's a bloody hard situation to live in. I get mood swings as well. You know, I've still got problems with my bladder, and so these are things that most people aren't used to in life, and neither am I. I'm just learning a whole new set of rules, you know, by which I've got to live. And it's not going to be easy, and I'm just, you know, I'm learning and I'm making mistakes.
It's up to me now to carve out something for myself, go back into the world myself, find things to do, catch up with old friends, get back into my own lifestyle.
It's a bit intimidating and daunting to think of the future of having so many people that will always have to come in and change. You know, if I ever make it to being an old man of 30 will be old for me. That's 5 years. If you can imagine one every 6 months, you know, that's 10 care attendants, 10 new people who will know my body and my personal life inside out, and that's letting a lot of people in and then saying goodbye to them. It's a fight, and it's always going to be a fight, and I think more of a fight than most people have to deal with.
Okay, ready? Try it. Okay, I'll hold you guys.
2, 3. Yeah, gainers!
There we go.
I always feel like other people are still imposing upon me a certain type of life and a certain regime, and if they ever get the better of me, then I think I'll feel defeated. But I think I'd probably die before I would allow people to impose a certain type of life.
It's the same old problem. They build these things and they don't think about the wheelchair user.
We're going up. We're going to...
Just a little bit more. Yeah. No, put me down, but lean me forward. There, that's it.
It would be very easy to give up, and let's face it, many people have. Some people have given up by allowing themselves to be institutionalized. Some people have given up the fight to live a quality of life. Some people have taken their own lives. And I've got to know what I want to do, what I want to live for.
Some nice little shops around, huh?
Yeah, there are.
It's a good feeling to be back in the mountains once again, and although it's not the first time, I think it's more important this time round, because I'm not only a spectator, I'm here really for a reason, which is to put something back into my sport. Nice to see you.
Oh,
Very well.
thank you for your Christmas card.
Did you get it? Yeah.
Did you get mine?
No.
Still have your birthday? Can you see it? I want to see it. It's getting longer. Yeah. All right.
All right. Excellent, Klaus. Way to go, man. Brilliant run. You deserve to win. It's going to be important to see that Sarah has a good level of confidence, and from there we can give her a lot of help in the coaching sense, and hopefully become British champion in the aerials event. Yeah, when you're doing front somersaults, in actual fact, when you think about it, you're doing a front 1 1/4 somersault, so it's bound to be harder to land. So you've really got to accentuate getting the arms out in front of you to come into some sort of balanced landing position, or else you're going to do your arm in every time. It's a blind type of maneuver when you're coming round for the front. As you come round, your head's looking at the sky. At the last minute, you see the landing.
Yeah.
Whereas in a back somersault, you look at the landing all the time, all the way around. And I'll be up there to help you, and I coach you in any way I can and to instill confidence, but eventually it's all on you.
Mike's been terrific. He's very, very good. He can see your jump frame by frame and tell you about it. His timing's perfect. He's also got the determination, and it channels through to me. Got a house over there.
With the long skis now, no?
Judges already?
It's the worst one I've done today.
Okay, huh?
Oh,
That's good form in the air. You know, sometimes I just snap into a phase where I think, you know, bloody hell, I really have, you know, missed a lot and I never will do it again. And luckily I don't fall into, you know, that feeling too often. Because if I did think about how much I've lost, it would make me very sad and bring me to tears. At the time of the accident, there were masses of people around. There was close friends, not so close friends, acquaintances, relatives, you name it, they all came there. Whereas now is the time where I need a lot of support, a lot of friends, and they don't seem to be around. It was as though at the time of the accident, maybe a lot of them came around because they thought, oh, well, this is a short-term thing and I will get better and I'll be walking again and they'll give some support and I'll be back to normal. But perhaps they thought that now that it is serious and it looks like I'll be like this for the rest of my life, maybe that's scared them a little bit. We all need help, and in our situation, we build up this incredible wall and barrier. And we all hope that it never gets so big that nobody can get through, because if it does, then you're left on your own and you're an island in addition to your disability.
Don't come and talk to us, huh? Don't come and talk to us, you know. No, don't. I mean, you know.
Here we go.
Whoa!
I've got it. It's over. Oh dear.
That's one of your worst lifts ever. It was.
I don't know what happened there.
So many late nights.
Here we go, huh?
This is it.
God,
You
look
made
nice,
it.
don't they?
Yeah. Brilliant looking cars. And fast.
Yeah.
It goes about 135 top end.
Beautiful, isn't it? Go.
Yeah. There's just something about being able to drive or being able to take somebody else around. I don't always want to be taken around. It's like we're giving myself back a bit of, don't like to use the word power, but a bit of independence and control over my own situation. Yeah, nice one.
I'll get in, huh?
Yeah, see how you look in it.
Oh, look,
Feel nice?
This is it. This is
Yeah?
me. This is you, too.
Looks good.
Yeah, I can see you in this one.
Yeah. To get back into the driving seat is going to be exciting, but it's a heck of a challenge as well. And if I get my license, I think I'll be one of the only people in the country to be driving with such a severe disability.
Great thing is you'll be driving around, you know, by yourself.
That's right.
Independence. You can turn up at people's houses and go wherever you want to go.
Well, here we are at last.
Yeah. I'm a bit nervous, though. I
Really?
don't know about it all. Yeah.
I'm very confident that you can make an excellent driver.
I hope so.
Well, maybe at this point we can take you through the controls that we've put in the car.
Correct.
And the primary control, which made it all possible, was the joystick steering system that you got your right hand locked into. Well, then we move on to the brake and accelerator that you have on the left hand. Forward is for brake.
That's right.
And back for the accelerator. We also have a beeper system here, which bleeps every time you press a button, which is controlled by your right elbow. That's right. Again. That's good. That's operating a range of ancillary controls listed here. Horn, indicators, etc.
Right.
And as a panel in front of your fingers at the right there, we have the electric handbrake system. That's right. The headlights and the side lights. And I think the best thing for us now is to get on the road and let's see how you get on with the steering and the braking.
Okay, we're ready for it.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Well, let's go. Can you just try the steering so we can see?
Yep.
That's good.
Full lock to the left.
Yeah. Excellent.
Full lock to the right.
That's good. That's good.
Brake on.
Brake on.
Acceleration.
Good.
Okay, here we go.
Good. Now just steer it across to the left. And accelerate. That's excellent. Wonderful.
When you're in the car, there's no sign of the wheelchair. You aren't labeled in any way, and that's going to be very nice. And to go out alone it's going to be just a feeling like no other in your own nice machine. One goal that we've put in front of us is to not only get a toboggan and be independent on the mountain, but we want to get a very, very fast toboggan, and we want to set a new world record.
Well, they are. Mike, what do you think?
Bloody brilliant.
Is it any idea of what you actually thought of originally, or?
It's pretty incredible. I didn't think it would be quite so big, you know. It's the whole structure of it is it's a massive setup, isn't it?
Right, Steve, let's show him.
Go.
Right, now, we don't have, as you can see, any restricting member across here. That's purely and simply to give you as much access as you can in or out.
We took the toboggan to Leon Smith's garage. They basically made, I suppose best analogy really is a Formula One shell, which went around all these adaptations which had been done to the steering and braking.
Once your legs are in position, and your heels and your ankles are right down on the bottom supports, they'll then be strapped into position.
It's very aerodynamic, well set out, and they've maintained a safety consciousness throughout it, which is quite good.
The controls here for the skis, and as you notice with your supports here, which you've already tried on, that'll give you as much lateral and vertical movement as I think you want to. If you run out of movement here, you've got real problems. You'll really be flying. Do you think in the event of a roll or flipping the toboggan that the shell's going to hold, it's going to be strong enough to withstand a roll? Oh, yes, ample, because you're, in fact, if you do roll, the load will be taken on the top of the roll bar, which is structurally straight through to the main member here, and also on the front section, which is all boxed. This is why you've got this crumple zone here. So the worst that could ever happen is a little pivot on the top of these points. What do you think? It's brilliant. I think it's going to do the speed. If I put it on for you, goes on this one. Forward one. Forward one. Yeah. Probably the most crucial element was the steering and braking system, because without that we can't go any further. So I went up to bioengineering at Stanmore to create a splinting system which would work on a pull system but also mobilize my arm. And we were able to do that, which helped with the steering, helped with the braking. As well. Sure. And also in the event that if you do turn over for any reason, you won't fly around, you know, like a pea in a pod. I'll stay face down into the That's right, yes. Snow will just go up your nose, nowhere else. It's hard. I want to be so independent, but I know I can never be truly independent. There's always going to be somebody around there, you know, just around the corner or in the next room. And I think I've got, you know, as far, I suppose, as anybody has who's, you know, broke their neck at such a high level or who has such a severe disability. But, you know, I've gone my own way, and that may be right in some people's eyes, it may be wrong in some people's eyes, but it's the only way I know. And it's, I'm fighting, you know, constantly pushing, you know, pushing, and hopefully I'm getting back to some sort of normality. When I first went into the hospital, you know, I was told that I wouldn't walk again and there's certain things I could do. But I kept getting this feeling that people were dictating or imposing on me that, well, Mike, you were a sportsman, but you're no longer a sportsman. Here's computers. Why don't you learn about computers? And basically, they kept saying, well, you've got to use your mind now. You've got to work with your mind. But I thought that was wrong, because being a sportsman, that was about the most important thing in my life until my accident. And I still consider myself a sportsman. I want to try everything I can possibly do.
Hello, Mike. Nice to meet you. Alan Russell, editor of the Guinness Book of Records. Julian Freeno, my sports editor.
Hi, Julian.
Hello,
good
Mike.
to see you again.
Good to see you.
Thanks very much for coming by.
It's our pleasure. Well, Mike, we're very interested in this potential record attempt, and we've been doing some research on it.
The Guinness Book of World Records people, they've told us that the record now stands at 58 miles per hour.
And Julian and I feel that this is not what you're going to attempt. It does not fall into any of these categories.
It seemed odd to me approaching the whole idea that a record hadn't been set for a toboggan on the open slope, so hopefully, as I say, we can establish something new.
How are you going to steer, or don't you steer?
The steering mechanism is just on a pulling system. All I do is I pull levers back, which then tilts the ski onto its inside edge, for steering. But in actual fact, as you're saying, we're not going to be steering much. We're looking at an optimum speed down a straight run, so the steering is very subtle movements. It's not a very sharp radius, or else we wouldn't have much stability anyhow.
When do you hope to do it?
We're going to be going out to Les Arcs on the 21st of March through to the 28th. So we're giving ourselves 7 days to achieve, hopefully, a very fast speed. I mean, I don't want to specify at the moment, but just between you and me, hopefully over 100 Ks. Quick enough.
It's a technical challenge, it's a physical challenge. It's not just a simple fact of bombing down a mountain, but it's taken a lot of people to get it to that stage. It may have started out as an outrageous, crazy idea, but we've slowly, hopefully methodically, brought it into reality.
That's right. Okay, Mike?
Yeah.
You steering?
Great. Oh, I hope so. How is it, Jonathan? Okay? Hard work?
No.
Yeah.
Davina Galika and Jonathan Elibor are both speed skiers, both ex-racers, and they've been assisting me in the whole speed attempt.
Yeah. Just let it go itself.
Okay, work the brakes. Work the brakes, Mike.
How was it?
Beautiful.
It wasn't such a bad turn.
It was hanging to the left, hanging to the right.
Right.
So this time you're braking with your brakes, and if there's an emergency, Jonathan and I will drop. We'll hang on to our ropes. But there is a possibility that Jonathan and I may drop our ropes.
Okay.
Because you may be just quicker than us. I mean, it's ridiculous. We may be towed down.
Yeah.
If it's going well, we may not be able to keep up with you. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, are you ready? Go! Come on. Brake hard, use the brakes. Come over to the right a bit, Mike. That's it. How did that feel?
Oh, I was glad. That was a much better run.
It was faster, and you were bouncing, like, because the first time I was worried about it being unstable and maybe rolling, but it's quite stable.
No, even in the bouncing, I'm not worried about it. It doesn't freak me out.
It stays pretty stable.
Why don't we try going a bit higher maybe this time?
I think what we'll do this time is go higher.
And let go.
But we'll also let you go.
Yeah, let me go.
Yeah.
We'll let you go.
No, I'm in control. I mean, I saw when I was going there, I was going back and forth. Could you see it? Could you see the skis moving?
Ready, go! Go on! Go!
Yeah. How's that for positioning?
to get the chute going, because that was full deployment there as well.
That was brilliant.
Bang, right on. And
brilliant.
Yeah?
It was really
good control
fantastic.
that time as well.
Draw that line.
And then the ski's going to act the same as the ski.
Perfect.
No problem.
Okay, well let's take the ski off. Let's just actually make marks where we want these. Yeah.
Today, and we're going to go up to the top of the course, get the toboggan in place. Once Davina gives thumbs up and Jonathan's all set and ready to go, we're going to fly down the KL course and hopefully come away today with a brand new world speed record.
You got it. Oh, that was a slip. Unintentional.
Welcome to the... Ron, can you help him?
It's all right.
Because Paul won't get me high enough.
Yeah, somebody take the legs off. Go down here. You're right.
Then seem to murder the outside.
Okay, are you ready to put it on?
Ready? We got clean tissues. Can't really say what it feels like yet. I want to get onto the course and just see how it feels. The weather's closing in.
We're trying to find
a bit impatient, really. Just get on with it.
You like the clean one. Okay, now I'm going to drop it again.
Okay.
Better?
Right. Hold on.
Okay,
are you ready, Mike? Careful.
Ready,
Okay, what's happened?
Okay.
Lifted?
Twisted.
What's happened?
Just a shoot's caught.
You all right, mate?
Okay.
Yeah, what happened?
Right, it's really Jonathan.
You're okay, eh?
Yeah, I'm all right. What did it do? Did it flip right over? Once.
Well, I saw it turn once.
Well, I saw
and
him
then I
turn
tried to
this way,
stop.
but I thought he was trying to
slammed
guide
the
it.
ankles on. I had to fall a bit to stop quick enough to come back up for you. Hey, listen, do you feel okay?
Yeah, I do. I've got a good whack on the head.
Yeah? But this worked. It was okay, eh?
Yeah. I picked up speed incredibly quickly. There was a bit of aquaplaning and I was kind of holding it straight. And all of a sudden it cut off to the right, veered off to the right. Before I knew it, it was starting to flip, and really all I remember is it was a blackening. I don't know that I blacked out, but everything went black, and I know what it's like to go upside down, and I went upside down, I should think at least a couple times. After a few seconds, I came to rest. But it happened so quickly. Unbelievable.
We've definitely got major problems. The one ski is tipped completely out and the lever is fully forward, which means that the chassis is well bent up.
63.070 kilometers an hour.
That was midway. That's upside down. That was going through at one side. And
that was upside down.
The first recorded speed upside down. When it flipped over, we sustained a lot of damage to the toboggan. It wasn't repairable. So that was end of story. Everybody go home.
All tight, strong. Let's head home, right?
I don't think we've really failed feels a bit like that now. But no, I don't think, ultimately, I don't think we've failed. I think we're going to win and we're going to succeed. We're not going to be defeated. We'll go out there again and again. I keep on pushing, not only to prove to other people, but ultimately it's to prove to myself that it can be done, because deep down I do have a lot of belief that if I really have a goal out there, then I will challenge it and I will meet that goal eventually, some way, somehow.